protests in Quebec are entering their 10th week, and they're showing no signs of slowing down. This weekend saw a new level of violence as students targeted government offices, smashing windows, splattering red paint, and carrying what are believed to be Molotov cocktails, which were recovered by police. Bags of bricks were also thrown onto subway tracks. Students are upset over proposed tuition hikes, but while Premier Jean Charest is ready to sit down with the protesters, his government says the tuition increases simply aren't negotiable. Roxanne Dubois is the national chairperson for the Canadian Federation of Students, and she joins me now from Ottawa. Roxanne, looking at the violence that we've seen, and the Premier saying, listen, this is unacceptable, it has to be denounced by student organizations. What do you have to say to that?
Well, I think that there's no denying that students have been out in the streets for now 64 days. And I mean, the struggle that's going on in Quebec is about access to education, and it's about the average people being allowed to pursue their education and to eventually, you know, make a space for ourselves out there in the workforce, right? So,
Roxanne, what in your mind will be prohibiting students from getting an education in Quebec? How much money are we talking about here when we're talking about tuition hikes?
Well, the tuition hikes that are proposed in Quebec are 75% over the next 3 or 4 years, and it's a huge amount. We're basically going from one of the most accessible system of post-secondary education in the country and raising those tuition fees. And in Quebec, we've had one of the most accessible systems that has allowed people to get educated, to get into, to reach their full potential, obviously. And the idea that we would lose that is why students are out in the street.
Just so that everyone's clear here, Roxanne, what kind of monetary amount are we talking about here? How much would the tuition go up? Because Quebec students pay the lowest tuition rates, as I understand it, across the country.
Yeah, we would go from about $2,000 a year to almost $4,000 a year.
So you're saying $2,000 increase?
Yeah.
Overnight?
No, well, yeah, over the next 5 years. So it's a 75% increase in tuition fees. And the reality is that increasing tuition fees is the worst way to do that, because it keeps building an unfair system of post-secondary education. There are other solutions to deal with shortfalls in funding in the education system, and student groups have been proposing them. And so, you know, these tuition hikes are not necessary. They're harmful, and they're preventing average people from pursuing their post-secondary education, which is what this is all about.
I'm a little confused, Roxanne, because I spoke to another student leader a little earlier, and I got a different figure, so I'm going to have to go and work the numbers. I think she told me 1,400, and now you're saying 2,000. That being said, the Premier is saying, listen, the hike, the tuition hike, not up for negotiation. So how confident are you that anything's going to be worked out, period?
Well, I think that students have been asking for a meeting for a long time in Quebec, and the student groups there, FEC and CLAS, have things to propose. I think that they have there are things that they need to sort out, but ultimately this is about tuition fees, right? The government can propose more loans and propose other schemes, but this is about raising tuition fees and blocking access to thousands of students that are coming in afterwards. And the mobilization that has happened in Quebec, with 200,000 people in the streets, with sustained mobilization over the past few weeks, has shown that the population in Quebec supports accessible education, and that raising tuition fees does not do that. In fact, it works in the opposite way.
Okay, Roxanne Dubois, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.